Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing and the sport world. Right? So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, we're going to get to boxing in a minute, right? In a minute. But there's some things going on. I'm going to put it all in one video because, hey, there's a whole lot of sport going on. I got things to do. So we're going to talk about everything that's going on. One of the biggest events going on right now, especially for the Europeans, is the Europa Cup. That's when all the nations get together and play some soccer, and it's on and popping. There's very legendary things that are going on. So far, we've had a couple of highlights, or lowlights in this case, when Denmark played Finland. Christian Eriksen basically had cardiac arrest. Heart stopped beating right on the pitch. And, they reanimated him and got him up out of there, and he's doing well. Thumbs up from Eriksen, which is good. But what wasn't so good is this happened right before the game, and what was it, an hour, maybe an hour and a half later, they had to play. They were given the ultimatum, either you play now or you play the next day at 12 o'clock. So that's what, when something like that happens, then damn that game. You get it somewhere a few days later, let the people, get mentally ready. But Denmark came out and they played the game. Then they lost that 1-0 to Finland, and that's kind of not right. They're thinking about even just giving them 1 point for that game just for showing up. And, in this case, things like that, we'll see if that's going to be the deal. Another thing is Ronaldo, right? Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I think he's getting, that GOAT conversation, man. I'm telling you now, the dude, he's scored 2 goals in Denmark's win versus Hungary, and now he's got the most goals in the European Cup, history, with a whole lot of other stuff that he's got. You know what I mean? So that's just another thing in his cap, because this one means when he's playing with Portugal. And I know that Portugal won the last European Cup or Europa Cup, right? They won the last one. But they've never been a favorite, and you really didn't expect it. On that team, it was Nane and my man in the back. I forget his name right now, the good defender that they had. Not Cisse. Forget his name right now. That's pissing me off. But, it's not a team that was a whole lot of stars on it. And Ronaldo was basically a star by himself on that team, and they won that. That was a huge upset, in my opinion. But now, they're still not one of the favorites, even this year. But they start off with Hungary winning 3-0, and now he's got the record. The biggest game so far, in my opinion, my humble opinion, but I think that game would have to be France versus, because France I think is #1 in the world right now, versus Germany, who everyone's scared of when it's tournament time. It could be the World Cup or the European Cup. You scared of Germany. Ask English people, they'll tell you, right? You ain't trying to play Germany anytime soon. But the French, German, that's the first game that I really watched like 90 minutes of. Sat back and just watched that game. And Germany hung with them, but they lost 1-0. Own goal from Hummels. Now Hummels is down there, and he stabilized the defense. He's 30 now, which means a little bit slower. And you didn't really want him in there unless you got a standard situation, because you really don't really want him trying to follow Mbappe around, right? And Mbappe makes it so easy for France, man. The halfbacks ain't got to do nothing but just kick the ball up there, up the pitch. He's going to catch up to his guy. I think Mbappe probably runs about a 10-2. I haven't checked, but he's 10 or 10-0. And that's how fast he is. And so they won the game. But Germany, if I was coaching Germany, I would say, hey, look, France, they were the favorites, and you played real well. Now, the Germany versus Portugal is going to be a good game. Now, France gets to go over here and play Hungary. And so it looks like France is going to get out of that group. We don't know who's the other team going to get out of that group. So let's just see. But that was the biggest game so far. But hey, every day things are coming. So keep your eye on the European Cup, even if you ain't in Europe, right? Now, for stateside, right? The biggest thing, and I'm doing this. I haven't watched the game. The game is over, but I haven't watched it yet. I told you I'm a league passer. We're going to the NBA here. And I watch it because I want to watch it. I ain't trying to watch no live, long, 3-hour game. I wait, watch it condensed. It takes me about 1 hour and 15 minutes to watch a game, right? And the biggest game is going to be the Nets versus Milwaukee. It's 2-2, and this game is very big because at the Nets, you got your boy Kyrie Irving is hurt, and Harden is questionable. And this is what I was saying before. I've seen a couple of pundits talk about this because I didn't have an opportunity to do a video before. And it upset me because my first reaction was, okay, this is for Durant's time to shine. This is Kevin Durant's time to shine. Because Kevin Durant, first you were playing with Westbrook, right? Not only Westbrook, but we talking about Serge Ibaka, James Harden, all that stuff was there too, with Durant there, right? They didn't win it, although going to the conference finals is damn near winning. I think they went to the finals. That's not really underachieving with that team. So how some people try to put it, but he didn't win. Westbrook didn't win with Durant. It's how it's always put out there. But Durant didn't win with Westbrook either. So that's how that went. So Durant leaves that team and goes and plays for Golden State after they win 73 games, which is the most in history. Now, Kevin Durant has played with 4 of the top 20 offensive players in the history of the game. And I say that without even flinching, right? We're talking Klay Thompson. Just take him for a minute. Klay Thompson, right, is a top-notch, upper echelon, super defender, perimeter defender. One of the best. Matter of fact, Klay Thompson takes the hardest persons on the other person's team, the hardest perimeter player. He takes them. Draymond got the other one. That's how they roll. It was defense. Klay Thompson's defense is spectacular, right? Now, when it comes to his offense, he has one of the quickest release we've ever seen, right? He moves without the ball like people that we're talking about, the Rip Hamiltons of the world, the Ray Allens, the Reggie Millers of the world, the J.J. Redicks of the world, those guys, the Kyle Korvers of the world. This is what this guy is. And he's better than most of those guys I just mentioned. The only one that you could put in Klay Thompson's area would be Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. Those are the only ones you put in his area, right? Klay Thompson is so good when he shoots that he's widely considered the second best shooter in the history of the whole NBA. The history. Second best shooter, and no one argues that point. That's how good he is. That's who Kevin Durant went to play, right? Now, the other dude on the other side will be Steph Curry. The very best shooter we've ever seen, right? The very best shooter we've ever seen. And the reason why is because more like Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson scores over 60 points while only dribbling the ball like 10 times. So he's a catch and shoot guy. Steph Curry can get it off the dribble, and you have to stick him once he gets out of his car in the parking lot, right? We know this. He's the best shooter ever. So you got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Is there any more spacing in the history of the game? So who wasn't winning with that team? Who? What all-star you could put on that team who's not going to win with those teams? Like Westbrook? Westbrook makes Washington look good. He got Robin Lopez looking good. Alex Lynn looking good. Rui Hachimura looking great. All right? Right? Giving them the ball where they need it. Hachimura, what is he doing? Mid-range. We got hook shots from Lopez. We got whatever is up. And then you got Gamut coming from the, what's his name? I forget his name. The guy coming from the bench from them. He throws it up to him. So you think, though, he wasn't going high pick and roll, and if he can't take it to the basket and give it up a lob to whoever was in there. If it was Bogut, if it was Jamel McGee, he going to make them look good. And if not, then I got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry out there, and ain't nobody leaving. So they staying at home. That's what Durant went to do. No spacing. So that means he's got one-on-one coverage the whole damn game. Right? Ain't nobody leaving. You leaving Klay Thompson to go stick somebody else? Or Steph Curry to go stick somebody else? You've been on him since he left the car. So you can't, that's spacing. So I'm not impressed. I would rather be Russell Westbrook than Kevin Durant. I would rather have the most triple-doubles in the history of the game and have more than even Oscar Robertson, who did it back when it was Bigfoot footage, than I would a title with Golden State. For sure. Right? Though, now he goes to the other two bad dudes, James Harden. Now, James Harden is widely considered, if not the best player, the top 3 players in the NBA right now. He's considered one of the top 2 scorers that the game has ever seen. And you know what? He's with Kevin Durant, right? But when you hear people argue about James Harden, it's one of the best scorers we ever seen. Charles Barkley will tell you. Now, me personally, I'm not a James Harden fan, because if the rules weren't like they were, like they are right now, he wouldn't be that effective. James Harden just understands, hey, you know something? If they going to call a swing through. When I go to the basket, I'm just going to swing my hands through. I'm going to keep it down, hold it tight, and bring it on up and get a foul. Why not have I go through my legs a little bit up a three-point line, and do I do a step back three? They can't defend them. How the hell are they going to defend that? So he's just basically a product. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, he has handles. He has some great handles. He sees the floor. He can shoot the ball. He makes his free throws. But if you can shoot the ball and make your free throws in today's game, you'll be okay. You might make the All-Star team just with that alone. But James Harden is all that. Don't get it twisted. I just think in a different era, if they stop calling all these fouls at the three-point line, and if they really start doing what they say they do, like if the guard initiates contact, period, it's an offensive foul. Those kind of things would help James Harden to be mortal. But right now, he's immortal, and that's who Kevin Durant's playing with. Now, the other one is Kyrie Irving. Perennial all-star, the Mr. Showtime, the best finisher under 6'4" that the world has ever seen, right? Uncle Drew, right? And he mean it. You can't stop him one-on-one. We know that, right? We know who this is. Probably one of the better scorers ever, right? He's one of the best shows we got right now. That's who Durant has. So they're gone. So right now, what we've been seeing for Kevin Durant is way too much luxury. Now you are the man. You're going to see double, triple coverage. You're going to have to facilitate. You're going to have to handle your business. Now, I know the game's over when you see in this video, but whatever. If I'm wrong, then it's even cooler. But that's what I want to see. No matter. And I ain't saying if he does it, great. If he can beat Milwaukee, because he, at the end of the day, Milwaukee got Antetokounmpo. He was there damn by himself, basically. You know, he goes to the basket, and then in the playoffs, they say we start making a wall, and he can't go to the basket. So now he tries to shoot a couple of shots to bring them out. He's not hitting them, but he's trying to shoot them so he can open up, so he can go to the lane, right? Now, that is what he's supposed to do. They complaining that he's shooting it. Now, Milwaukee, well, I ain't talking about Milwaukee, but I'm going to say this before I move on. Milwaukee definitely is doing one thing wrong, period, and that's Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, they're just forgetting, like you got a mismatch. If Brook Lopez is going to be on the floor and be bigger and slower than everybody that the Nets have, if you're not going to use him, get him up out of there, right? Because he's protecting the rim, he's blocking shots. But Brook Lopez, we're forgetting, he's just a three-point shooter now because the NBA has requested that. And he's so talented that he was able to do that. But actually, this is a low-post juggernaut. Now, is he clumsy? Is somebody shorter than him and lighter than him going to steal the ball a time or two? Yes, they will. That's going to happen, right? But give it to him 20 times on the block, and you're going to have 25 and 10 and 3 blocks. And you have to imagine this, Milwaukee, while you're playing around. You still got Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday, Middleton, and whoever else decide to play, if it's PJ Tucker or whoever, right? You got that. Imagine if they had to double team Brook Lopez. And they would have to after 3 minutes. I don't understand how a whole coaching staff can't see that. Ridiculous to me. But that just shows you where the NBA is. No one's even thinking about something like that. That outlandish idea that this guy, grab-tooth guy, talking about the NBA, Brook Lopez. We forgetting what Brook Lopez is. That's an all-star, actually, at the center position. But we forgetting it. Now, let's go to boxing. Now, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury had the press conference yesterday, and whatever was clever, right? I was surprised Deontay Wilder showed up. But here's the deal. Wrong hat. Told you. Deontay Wilder ain't talking. Had headphones on and shades and stuff. I just seen a little bit of it. I ain't even got to see it. I ain't even interested in that. I ain't even want him to come, right? He ain't no reason to talk. He's not talking to the media. Now, what I'm hearing is reports the media is calling his behavior weird. Right? They're calling his behavior weird. No, your behavior was weird. When you have somebody who's done something 1,000,000 times and you don't investigate it and just call the one guy crazy and you don't even investigate it, that's what he's pissed off about. And he's not forgetting it. And I'm glad. I would have been surprised if he would have talked. That's what would have surprised me. He's not, you don't deserve his time. That's all that is. Period. Now, you know, a lot of times people do stuff. You know, you do things and you just expect people to push it under the rug. January 6th, that was against our democracy, going up against the Congress. People trying to call that damn, what is it? What did you try to call it? Those of tourists going in there, right? Shooting people all over the time. Cop after cop shooting people all the time. When some people complain, so what are they complaining about? We supposed to be able to shoot them, right? right? And no matter how much they've planned on doing this, it doesn't matter. So whatever, man. Ain't nobody gonna keep just ignoring what you do. If you do something, there's repercussions. Period. No matter how you look. I know that you got that little privilege popping off, and you just think that people are gonna forget that. No, I'm glad you keep messing with it. He gonna front you on national TV. That's why I leave him alone. All right. The only thing I'm worried about is him throwing them hands too early. Leave that alone. Now, another thing about Deontay Wilder was Eddie Hearn, promoter of Anthony Joshua, to come out and say, hey, it's going to be a walk in the park for Fury against Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's just not skilled enough to deal with the Tyson Fury. Well, tell John Fury that, Tyson Fury's father, who's fearful of Tyson Fury getting in with Deontay Wilder. He would rather him get in with Anthony Joshua, right? That's who he'd rather get him in, not the money, just because he's less fearful of what's going to happen to his son, right? And that's the deal. So Hearn is saying that, right? And it's funny how people do. Eddie Hearn is Anthony Joshua's promoter. Anthony Joshua won't, they still talking about, well, Fury wins undisputed, but Joshua will not say what happens if Deontay Wilder wins. Did we still want undisputed? Did we want undisputed back then with the $50 million that he requested, which should have been embarrassing? But it's not for these boxing fans. They're not embarrassed by doing stuff like that. Anthony Joshua asked for $50 million, I'll take it, and then he gets it, right? And then people are like, well, he didn't really get the money. It wasn't verified, blah, blah. You have to say yes to the deal first, and then the money will come. But these people, all of a sudden, Showtime doesn't have it, and all these people, Shelly Finkel, who's been in the business longer than anybody who's complaining, right? Shelly Finkel's damn near Bob Arum type. Been there forever. That money was good. And then he start asking about, hey, I don't want to, what did he say? I don't want to sell my soul. I want to fight in front of the UK fans, right? Then Wilder was like, okay, that was $50 million guaranteed, and it would have been more than that, right? Okay, well, I'll take your $15 million to come to England. Uh-oh, the dude said, yeah. Well, wait a minute. Here's Povetkin. We got to fight him within 48 hours. Come on, guys. That doesn't sound like somebody. If you really wanted it, you would have done that. So that's why his promoter saying that Deontay Wilder is so easy, it's going to be walking the park. Then you go grab that $50 million plus to go beat this easy guy. Or you at least, if they didn't send the money, then you go start in the press, hey, where's the money? We're down to do it. Did you see any articles like that? We're ready. Send us the $50 million and we'll come there. Did you see that? Stop asking about where was the confirmed money. Did you ever see Joshua or Hearn ever say, please send us that money because we come to kick your butt yesterday? Did you see those kind of articles? No, you didn't. I know. You're looking for little things to wiggle your way out. A fighter that wants to fight will fight. How is the energy for Anthony Joshua with Tyson Fury? Isn't that a different energy? You don't want to admit that? Well, whatever. Walk in the park. But let me tell you, the reason why these fighters do things like that is because of you guys, right? Canelo Alvarez just called Demetrius Andrade a horrible, horrible fighter after knowing he was the guy you could beat to be undisputed at the middleweight division, and you would have got $40 million for doing so. He was the guy who was the champion at 154, begging, calling you a bitch, and begging you to fight him, and you would never do it at 154 until he got stripped, and then you went on, and they gave it to Leon Smith, and then you went to fight Leon Smith, right, instead of him. And that's not even embarrassing. And you're in front of everybody, you can call him a horrible fighter because these people going to laugh. But you can't go beat a horrible fighter and become undisputed in the middleweight division, but now you're trying to act like it's so good to do at the super middleweight division because it's easier? Yeah. What about your boy Ryan Garcia? Mandatory challenger for Devin Haney, right? Mandatory. Don't want to fight him. The mandatory. Doesn't not want to fight him. Want to fight everybody else. Javier Fortuna was going to fight him, and he was too hard, so he's depressed now. He got depression and anxiety. But why you got depression and anxiety? You wouldn't fight Javier Fortuna, and you damn sure wouldn't fight Devin Haney. And you said it, basically. He's the hardest guy out there in the lightweight division. I want him to be last. How could you come and comment on his fight with Linares where he got rocked? Right? First of all, you got knocked down by someone who's 50% less punching power than Linares. Right? You got up and won the fight. He got rocked at the end of a round and won every damn round. How the hell could this guy say, I would have slept him? And there's no outrage? Yeah, right? Because we like the scary ones. Right? That's what's up. You're forbidden to talk about the fight because don't you got anxiety is the reason why you can't fight Javier Fortuna? When he comes back, he needs to fight Javier Fortuna first, right? Don't be calling me up. Call up Javier Fortuna because what we're going to do, we're going to let him get around that because he didn't want to fight Linares either. Think about that. The guy that Ryan Garcia did not want to fight either, Linares, and the boxing public did not want him to fight him. It's a little bit too early for Linares. This other guy who's the same age as Garcia fights him and beats him every damn round, every round except 2. And gets rocked. Of course you're going to get rocked against a great fighter like Linares. Get up out of here. And Teofimo Lopez, always talking to, and Lomachenko, who didn't fight Devin Haney, criticizing his fight when you fought Teofimo Lopez and didn't throw a punch to round 8. Whatever, man. I can go all day with this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're going to go back to Deontay Wilder, right? I told you he's not talking to the normal press. He should not be talking to the normal press. If the normal press want to know something, what's going on with Deontay Wilder, well, you should be interviewing that judge who made him fight Tyson Fury or retire. Maybe you want to talk to him to understand what's going on with Deontay Wilder, what's going on with people who got all the evidence and made a decision. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And we up out of here, y'all.